Howdy, y'all. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my time working as a care partner and what the average day of my care partnerness was like. This is not something that should be necessarily extrapolated to all assisted living facilities, but I have been seeing it, at least from everybody I've talked to and from all the different YouTubers I follow. There's a lot of patterns from my facility going on to others of similar size. So first things first, I was working in assisted living. That is different than retirement or nursing. Assisted living is when you're one step above living in retirement facilities where you need assistance with daily tasks of living. Often, sometimes you go into assisted living just because you slipped a few times in the shower and just need somebody that would always be there to or go into the bathroom and make sure you're okay or be the first response if anything were to happen. In our assisted living facility, it was about 48 people, 48 residents, 8 of which were in memory care. Out of the whole facility, there was assisted living and memory care. 2 separate little entities, even though within the same building. So for assisted living, there's about 40 people. The afternoon shifts, which I primarily did, there would be 1 med tech. Always, around the clock, there has to be a med tech. Med tech is responsible for giving out medications, is the first responder in cases of when, if there's a medical emergency, we call the med tech. Med tech assesses, they call 911 if they need to. And so they have at least a little bit of background in medicine that would require their need to be there 24 hours. When I was working, there would be 1 med tech for the 40 people and 2 care partners for all 40 people. Now, this was a little bit of a problem because it made it one of the most stressful jobs, the most stressful job I've ever had in my life. Definitely doesn't give each individual resident the amount of time that they deserve for paying to be there. So my day would start out, I would come in, get all checked up, sign my little waiver and get my temperature taken, make sure I don't have COVID, clock in, hopefully be able to discuss with the AM crew what their feel of the morning was, how different residents were acting, and just basically how my day is going to go. Once I get in, I get my little iPhone, and the only thing on this iPhone is the one app that corresponds to the computer in the front desk that will show off if anybody presses their button. And everybody has a button. We make sure everybody has a button and everybody has access to it. Every time somebody presses a button, you get a little alert on your phone, says room, and you have the option of hitting take on it. And if you hit take, it will come up with your little care partner thing on there. So then if a couple come up, you and your coworker can take separate ones. So then you kind of divvy it up fairly, that sort of way. That works. It's a good little way to do it. So I would get my information from the people, grab my phone, immediately get a few calls. So first call of the day. I gotta run out, I gotta help somebody get onto the toilet. Takes a good while. They're a large person and not able to move very well. Immediately calls are coming up. There's always, I'd say, at least 4 calls always on your phone at a time. And you and your coworker, you hit the takes, then you know which ones you're gonna do. You have to, you gotta do one at a time. It's the way that I was trained, is that if you gotta finish one, if it's one that you can tell is of like, hey, I need to organize this sort of thing, you can be like, okay, yeah, let me check up on some of these other people and I'll be right back to you. That's the reasonable thing. So I would finish call 1, immediately address call 2. As I'm doing call 2, then I'm gonna immediately get call 3, which just so on and so forth and so forth. And everything under the stars in which they're asking, whether it's getting onto the toilet, getting back into bed, getting certain clothes on, organizing some of their room, finding a lost book, getting them coffee or water or anything from the kitchen, any snacks or anything like that. It can all take a certain amount of time, and a lot of the time, and those are luckily those are the good ones, or when you get ones like that are clean and easy. If it takes a little bit of time, you can come back to them at different times, but then there's plenty that are urgent. There's plenty of people, at least in our facility, that you are always going to be going to the most, that needed help getting to the bathroom or would try to walk when they can't walk and are constantly falling, or ones that are, there's plenty of medical, not emergencies like needing to call 911, but plenty of things in which you're called into, in which you got to take medical intervention and call the med tech and get some things that will help with, like Parkinson's, or some cases like hallucinations, or all that stuff needs to be reported to the med techs, because then they know their history and can tell what action needs to be taken at that point, but also going forward. In between all of that, as you're constantly getting calls, within the first few calls, you got to start getting the water ready, water and snacks, run into the kitchen, taking a few more calls, run into the kitchen, get the water, get the snacks, start delivering, take a few calls, because you see how many's on there, and you know coworker isn't finishing all of the ones that keep popping up, or especially if they're important ones that need to get seen ASAP. And you can tell kind of the progression which your coworker is going through them, because you can hit take and then clear the whole thing, so you know when they're done. Finally getting the water done, taking a few more calls. You're also checking in and running into the laundry, because the laundry is also your responsibility for the whole freaking facility, because everybody brings it in, except for the few that were good enough to go and do their own laundry. But during COVID times, it's all on us. So we're doing laundry for the entire facility while running back and doing all of this stuff. So going in, putting in bins, going out and folding every single one of them, getting everything ready, delivering it to their rooms. When you deliver it to the rooms, you also have to put them away for most of them. Well, not most of them, but a good proportion. You got to put away their clothes for them while you're taking calls and calls and calls and calls. Got to do a few showers in the day. Gotta go and assist with showers. If you're lucky, it's somebody that you can just kind of stand back in the bathroom and just be there. Other ones, you gotta be, you gotta be in depth and get them all clean. Down out of the shower, take a few more calls. Everything from still going on of reprogramming their TV, helping clean up a really big spill. That happens a lot. Helping, of course, with accidents and changings and things that need to be done like that. Take a few more calls. Then it's time to go into dinner. You go back to the kitchen, you start getting the drink cart ready. Take a few more calls. Get the drink cart ready. We had a cook that was adamant that there needed to be both of us in there at the same time while we're doing the whole dinner service, which was completely unrealistic, because it was hard enough even just doing one person do the dinner and one person taking the calls at a lot of these times. Not every day, but on average. In the process of taking all of these calls, getting the drink tray ready, start loading up all of the dinners for everybody, setting everything on the plates, making sure each one is right for everybody. Particularly, like the desserts, making sure that they were sugar-free for the people who needed sugar-free. Put all those things on a cart. You'd have to do it in 2 trips because didn't have a big enough cart, and 2 separate calls. And go into each room, deliver food to each and everybody, while there's also still calls going on. Usually that would be, we would divvy it up well enough during that time that it would be one person delivering, one person taking calls. Then you're done with the food. After that, you're still taking calls. Going back to each room, picking up all the dishes, picking up all the trash, still taking calls. Still running back down the laundry because you still got to do all the laundry. Getting all the dishes takes a decent bit of time too. Some point of the day, at least on average, every few days, there's going to be some sort of medical emergency that's going to take a decent amount of your time. Not going to be a pretty sight. You're still going to take a few more calls. Got to find time to vacuum in there. Still do more of the laundry. Still take more calls. Going to each and every room and picking up trash in their room. Most of them were kind enough. They would put little put all their trash in a little bag, just leave it right outside right around that time. But the ones that wouldn't, you'd have to go in, get their trash, get all the trash for this facility, take it all out, do the laundry, take more calls, and sanitizing. You have to sanitize pretty much all the freaking time. Any time that you had a second, you'd go and try to do what you can. Stressful as heck. Not enough people working there. While we were working there, needed to be at least one more care partner to make sure that everything was gotten to immediately, because we are their first response. If somebody is in like critical medical need, and we have a list of people we're going through and we have to go bit by bit before we get to the person who's in critical need, then that's just time that is unfortunately wasted. And when we don't have enough people, we don't have the ability to get to whoever is in critical need first and immediately. At least the reason why it's the most stressful job of my life is I prioritize getting there, and all my coworkers too prioritize getting there as quick as humanly possible when somebody made a call to make sure. But yeah, we needed at least 3 to make that smooth. And what we really need, what all assisted living really need, is 1 care partner per 10 residents. And it seemed, to people in big assisted living, they're like, oh, that's not realistic at all. But it's the only way that everything can get done, and then have enough time to actually give these people the attention they deserve. 2 people, you're definitely not getting the attention they deserve. You can, at most, when you have some time, have like a 5-minute chat, and your coworkers got it covered for a little bit with the line of people, because you know what sort of things they're usually going to order around or need that time of day, and you get a little bit of time to help one dude organize his closet, hear about his family's history in the area, and all of his cool music, and it's good. But it's the reasons why those sort of things stick out is because they just weren't as frequent as it really should be in that sort of area. In assisted living, there's a wide variety of people. There's people who need very little of assistance that you'll just see in the hallways. They don't really need anything. And then there's people who should be in nursing homes but aren't in nursing homes because I don't know. I don't make the decisions. I'm just assuming that homes are cheaper, so families want to try to keep them in there as long as they're in assisted living, as long as assisted living is willing to deal with them. And assisted living is, as long as they're making money on that room, if they couldn't sell it out immediately, doesn't cost them anything to stress us out more. But in this sort of industry, the people who are doing the caring are the ones that need to be the least stressed out, because the more stressed out they are, the more things slip through the cracks. It's really an industry that needs more care partners, way better wages, and an actual commitment to those care partners. I hope you learned something, and if you didn't, you can buzz off, and if you did, like and follow. I might do a couple more of these things. And then my usual stuff is just doing creative crap, which, speaking of creative crap, go ahead and have an Instagram, at Josh and Jump. Check it out. Go down there, wherever I happen to put the thing. Thanks for watching, and if you got all the way to the end and didn't get sick of me yet, freaking awesome. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see more of you, and you might see more of me. We'll see. Have a great one.